You have been taught that caring is strength, that showing emotions makes you noble, that vulnerability is humanity. But this is not strength. It is vulnerability, and vulnerability is exploited. No one told you that the more you care, the easier it is for others to control you. From childhood, you were conditioned to seek approval. You worried about how you were perceived, proving your worth, apologizing for your intensity, and in doing so, you surrendered your power without even realizing it. You thought that emotional openness would lead to connection, but it brought you anxiety, emotional exhaustion, and mental instability. Niccolò Machiavelli mocked this modern addiction to the desire to be loved. He understood what many still fail to realize. The power lies not in emotions, but in the ability to manage them. When you care too much, they probe your wounds. When you react, they increase the pressure. When you seek their recognition, they withhold it. Caring gives them leverage, and you become predictable, weak, and controllable. The cold art of indifference is not cruelty. It is strategy, a choice of silence where others shout, a retreat where others chase. It is observing how they try to provoke you while giving nothing in return, and in this nothingness, you become invulnerable. Tell yourself, I do not owe anyone emotional explanations, because the truth is simple. If you want to win this game, stop caring about how you are seen and start focusing on how you will be remembered. First, caring makes you predictable, and predictability makes you weak. If they can predict you, they can control you. This is a harsh truth, and nothing makes a person more predictable than excessive caring. When people know what you react to, they know exactly how to manipulate you. Your silence becomes rare. Your presence loses value. You become easy to read, cornered, broken. Every breath, every excessive explanation, every desperate message reveals something deeper. Your emotional need to be seen, understood, accepted, and this need, this chain, this leash is pulled when they want to control you. But Machiavelli did not live by emotions. He lived by leverage. He knew that true power lies not in how loudly you cry, but in how quietly you observe. When you are not affected by disrespect, when praise does not touch you, when no one can understand what bothers you because nothing bothers you, that is when you become dangerous. The person who does not react wins. The one who does not chase does not engage, and the one who does not care controls. At this level, you stop reacting like a victim and start acting like a weapon. Tell yourself, my silence is my strength, because as soon as they can no longer predict you, they will stop using you. Second, emotional involvement is preparation for manipulation. The more emotionally involved you are, the easier it is to manipulate you. This is why they rush to win your trust, praising you from the very first moments, quickly opening up and showing vulnerability. Not because they trust you, but because they want you to trust them. It is a trap. Once your emotions are engaged, logic dies, and with it, strength. You stop asking questions and begin to justify the actions of others. You start ignoring warning signs simply because you feel a connection. This is how they win, not through force, but by making you care. Machiavelli understood that emotions overshadow reason. He said that a ruler must know how to be both a human and a beast, logical when it is time to govern and unfeeling when it is time to defend the throne. In the modern world, your throne is your emotional stability, and you protect it by eliminating emotional bait. This means not opening up unnecessarily, not sharing too much, and not reacting to provocations. You act like a strategist, not like a slave to your feelings. Because the more someone can hurt you, the more power they have over you, and the more you strive to be understood, the less you will grasp the essence of the game. Say in the comments, "I feel nothing, I calculate everything." Because in this world, feelings do not protect you, but detachment does. The third point is the power of strategic indifference. Indifference is not weakness or apathy. It is strength, carefully concealed. When you master the art of not caring, you do not become indifferent. You become selective, choosing where to direct your energy. You decide who deserves your response. Most people spend their lives reacting to every insult, every opinion, every change in someone else's tone. They exhaust themselves for those who would not even blink if they fell. This is not strength. It is slavery. Machiavelli knew that rulers who react emotionally can be easily manipulated. The moment people learn what hurts you, what makes you happy, what you need from them, they gain leverage over you. But when you become indifferent, you break their grip. They do not know where you stand, do not know what you want, and this mystery unsettles them. It makes them guess, adapt, and rethink. As long as you remain unflappable, observing in silence. Strategic indifference is not detachment from life. It is not being unreachable for nonsense. When someone tries to make you feel guilty, you do not explain yourself. When someone is disrespectful, you do not seek clarification. You simply take away what they wanted most, your emotional presence. This is the harshest response. Not anger, not revenge, but indifference, silence, backed by self-respect. Because ultimately, people are not accustomed to being ignored. They are not used to reactions, and they do not feed on them. But when you give them nothing, they become lost, and you rise. Say again in the comments, "My indifference is my revenge," because the game is not about how much you care, but about how well you control who feels significant. The fourth point is how to emotionally detach without losing your mind. Attachment does not mean that you do not feel. It means that you do not need to act impulsively, solely based on your feelings. This is the difference between weakness and strategy. Many confuse the suppression of emotions with emotional detachment, and that is why they burn out. Suppression is when you feel something and push it down inside. Detachment is when you feel, but you are aware, you control, and you choose not to act under the influence of emotions. One is pressure, the other is strength. Especially considering that L did not say one should not have emotions. He argued that a ruler must learn to act against them. This means feeling anger but not reacting, feeling disappointment but not succumbing to it. It is not about being a robot, but about dominating your inner world. Once you control what happens inside, nothing from the outside can shake you. So how do you detach in real time? First, by observing your triggers. Every time someone hurts you, delays you, ignores you, insults you, or pressures you, stop. Do not react. Just observe. Allow the feeling to rise, but do not let it control you. You owe no one a reaction, and you owe no one access to your emotional state. Second, interrupt the story. When your mind starts creating narratives like, "They did this because they do not respect me," or "They ignored me because I am not good enough," stop it. These thoughts do not belong to a strategist. They belong to a slave of perception. Replace them with, "Interesting. I see that now. Let's focus." You are not here to decipher disrespect. You are here to build control. Third, disappear without explanation. If someone crosses a boundary, you are not obligated to explain, warn, or say goodbye. Just walk away. That is power. Believe me, silence speaks louder than any words. When someone treats you poorly and you do not even flinch, it is remembered forever. Fourth, focus on the mission, not on emotions. The reason many remain emotionally tangled is that they have nothing stronger than their emotions. But when you have a goal, everything else becomes noise. A person without a goal will be governed by their feelings. A person with a goal will use their feelings, but will never submit to them. Ask yourself, does this situation help me dominate my goal or drain it? If it drains it, it dies. Fifth, practice emotional minimalism. You do not need to discuss everything. You do not need to resolve every issue. You do not need to be noticed. You just need to stay sharp. People who try to pull you into emotional chaos fear your silence because silence means you are acting from logic, not from weakness. And logic is the battlefield of Machiavelli. The truth is that emotional detachment is not coldness. It is clarity. This understanding that excessive concern for the wrong people, the wrong problems, and the wrong moments will cost you your focus, your sharpness, and your life. You distance yourself not because you are insensitive, but because your heart is too powerful to be handled carelessly. Say this with clarity. I am not rushing towards completion. I control the impact. Let it be known. From now on, you will not succumb to emotional manipulation. You are not here to be understood. You are here to become a weapon. Because when you stop reacting emotionally, you become unreadable. And when you become unreadable, you become someone to be feared. The absence of emotion is a source of power in social struggle. In a world obsessed with approval, the one who wins is the one who does not react. While everyone else chases status, attention, apologies, and recognition, the one who sits in silence and calculates the situation dominates. This is not detachment. It is dominance. And this is not a mindset you are born with. It is a weapon you create. One cold decision at a time. Every group you enter, every conversation you engage in, is a subtle war for power. People evaluate you not by appearance, but by how emotionally reactive you are. You falter if challenged. You justify yourself if questioned. You seek approval if ignored. They are always silently, subconsciously testing you for weakness, and most fail immediately, because most cannot endure misunderstanding, cannot tolerate silence, and beg for affirmation. But Machiavelli warned, it is better to be feared than to be loved if you cannot be both. This fear does not stem from violence. It comes from calmness, from being unreadable, from your emotional unavailability to manipulation. When someone insults you and you do not change your tone, you win. When someone tries to provoke you and you respond with silence, they crumble. Not because you said something powerful, but because you said nothing at all. The absence of emotion disorients the average person. They are used to reactions. They are trained to control others through guilt, drama, and emotional bait. But when they throw out bait and you do not bite, you flip the script. Suddenly, they begin to seek your approval. They start to doubt their control. They become insecure in the presence of your indifference. You must internalize this. The one who cares less always has more control. This does not mean being cruel. It means being controlled. It means knowing that power belongs to the one who can remain calm in chaos, silent under pressure, and emotionally neutral in the storms designed to break you. If you want to dominate social interactions, do less, speak less, reveal less, observe everything, speak only with purpose, and when you do speak, do so from a position of calm logic rather than emotional reaction. Emotional people chase results, strategically observe them. Emotional people seek understanding, while strategic individuals gather data, and in every interaction, the quiet mind prevails. Because once people realize they cannot unbalance you, they stop trying to dominate you, and you step away from the emotional chessboard. They have no moves left, and this makes you invulnerable. When someone insults you, and you simply nod, when someone disappears from your life, and you do not even blink, when someone tries to impose guilt on you, and you walk away in the middle of a sentence, not because you are angry, but because they no longer matter. This is a power they cannot compare to, because it is internal. This is how rulers operate, how ghosts haunt the weak, and how Machiavellian power is maintained, not through words, but through silence, reinforced by presence. Write in the comments right now, I am impervious, I am unshakable. Let the world know that you no longer play emotional games. You wage psychological warfare and play only to win, because emotions make you visible. But without distinction, this makes you unstoppable. Guard your energy like a fortress. Coldness is the gate. Time is the currency. Energy is the wealth. Attention is the leverage. Yet most people squander all three like fools. They give their time to those who drain them, their energy to arguments that lead nowhere, their attention to games they were never invited to, and then they wonder why they feel broken, used. This is because they never learned one important rule. What you give emotion to, you empower. Machiavelli knew this. He did not waste his power on what did not serve the strategy. He did not try to convince the unworthy, argue with the ignorant, or defend himself against fools. He knew that every moment of attention he gave was a form of payment, and he paid only where it built power. This is a lesson that most men never learn. You do not simply become emotionally detached for visibility. You do this to protect your fortress, your mind, your mission, your peace. Because every time you react emotionally, someone else controls your energy. They lure you into conversations that lead nowhere. They provoke you to see how you lose control. They pretend not to understand, just to make you explain yourself, and you fall for it every time. But no more. From this moment on, you treat your attention like a weapon. You respond less, open up less. You leave people confused intentionally. If someone disrespects you, you disappear. If someone tries to provoke you, you smile and walk away. Without reaction, without continuation, without explanations. This is not weakness. This is control. And in a world full of noise, control is the rarest form of power. Here is what happens when you become emotionally cold. People start to hesitate before crossing your line. Your silence becomes a wall. Your indifference becomes a signal. They begin to understand. You are not someone to play with. You are not loud, but you are definitive. You are not dramatic, but you are deadly. And they feel it. Even if they cannot explain it, they sense it. You carry an aura that says, if I cut you off, it is forever. This is what Machiavelli meant. Speaking of wisely used cruelty, not violence, not chaos, but a calculated absence that strikes harder than any emotional outburst. An aura that makes people regret losing your attention, not just your words. You become less accessible, less readable, more powerful. You must understand this clearly. An emotionally cold person is not bitter. He is focused. He is not insensitive. He is disciplined. He is not angry. He is simply tired of explaining himself to those who do not deserve the conversation. Because of this, he moves lighter, sleeps deeper. His plans become sharper. He rises higher. He becomes someone whom others whisper about. Not because he boasts, but because his silence speaks louder than their noise. Coldness is not related to cruelty. It is they who are uncertain. All your life you have been taught that kindness is accessibility, that strength lies in constant discussion, that real men are always open and vulnerable. But this is how you were made weak. This is how you were easily manipulated, because a man who is emotionally open to everyone is vulnerable to anyone. Let me tell you what true strength looks like. Strength is walking away without saying a word. Strength is making someone feel your absence without explanations. Strength is not needing arguments, not needing fights, not needing to be loved. It is the ability to be misunderstood because you understand the game, and that is enough. And when people see that you cannot be emotionally moved, they begin to self-regulate. They choose their words more carefully. They tread lightly because now you hold the frame, you set the pace. And if they want to be in your world, they will have to play by your rules. Otherwise, they will be completely excluded from it. This is how you reclaim your power in silence. Stop explaining yourself to those who have already decided not to understand you. Stop arguing with those who do not even listen. They are just waiting to say their piece. Stop wasting your breath on relationships that feed on your attention but drain your purpose. Coldness filters. It shows who truly values you and who only valued access to your energy. It creates space, and in that space, you become sharper. You become stronger. You become more dangerous. Let them think you are heartless. Let them say you have changed. Let them complain about your silence. This is what weak people do when they realize they can no longer manipulate you. Stay focused, disciplined, and detached, because the closer people feel to your emotions, the more they believe they have the right to dictate your calmness. And once you let them in, it will be hard to close the door. So do not open it for just anyone. Do not explain what you have already outgrown. Do not try to make people understand standards that they have never met. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them wonder what you are thinking. The truth is, you are not thinking about them at all. Say it right now. If it drains me, it does not deserve me. Let the world know that your attention is valuable. It should not be given by default. Your time is sacred, and your emotions are no longer on public display. You have become cold, and that is how you rise above. When you stop caring, they start obsessing. That is the paradox. The less you care, the more they chase. When you go silent, they start making noise. When you disappear, they panic. When you stop reacting, they begin to lose control. This is not coincidence. It is psychology. People are addicted to validation of their significance, and when they do not receive it from you, their desire only intensifies, especially if they had it before. Emotional detachment breeds obsession. When you stop giving people emotional reactions, they become insecure. And in human psychology, insecurity breeds uncertainty. They start replaying old conversations in their minds, rereading old messages, doubting themselves. Did I say something wrong? Why are they not responding? Do they not like me anymore? The longer you remain silent, the louder their inner voice becomes. That is the power. Niccolo Machiavelli knew that at the moment you detach without warning, you create a vacuum, an emptiness. And people will do almost anything to fill that void. Not because they love you, not because they care about you, but because you have become a mirror that they can no longer control. And that loss of control gnaws at them. You do not create obsession through attention. You create it through absence. You do not become respected by being constantly available. You become unforgettable by being rare, silent, and cold. Not to hurt them, but to protect yourself. This is psychological warfare. You are not here to be emotionally generous with those who do not value your energy. You are here to accumulate leverage and silence. That is such leverage. Tell yourself, I do not give anything away for free, not even my attention. Because once you learn not to care, the same people who rejected you will be haunted by your silence. Let them wonder. Let them worry. Let them chase the version of you that they will never get again. You are not obligated to give them closure. You are obligated to find peace for yourself. Emotional detachment creates long-term strength. Most people exchange their emotional energy for a crumb of approval. But a person like Machiavelli plays the long game. He does not need applause. He is independent of being loved. He calculates, always thinking 10 steps ahead. And what gives him a constant advantage is distance. Emotional distance is not withdrawal, it is positioning. When you detach from the need to be accepted, you stop bargaining for your worth. You begin to observe. You start to choose. You gain leverage. Because you are not emotionally attached to the outcomes. You do not desperately strive to win people over. You focus on gaining power. In negotiations, the calmest person wins. In relationships, the one who is ready to walk away has control. In life, the one who can move in silence without emotional chaos is the one everyone ultimately watches. This is a long-term game, and most will never master it. Because they are too attached to being noticed right now. But you are different. You do not speak to be heard. You speak when it matters. You do not react to prove something. You act to protect your peace. And this emotional discipline makes you dangerous in the best sense. People respect what they cannot easily obtain, and they fear what they cannot predict. Machiavelli understood that the game is not about immediate attachment, but about long-term influence. It does not matter to be loved today. What matters is to preserve the memory of how cold-blooded, strategic, and powerful you acted when emotions tried to take you over. People who try to test your boundaries, provoke you, or make you feel guilty can only win if you respond. So do not respond. Your silence is a slow burn. Your detachment is a long-term punishment. They will not feel it now, but over time they will. And you will be free. Say this with pride. I exchange emotions for elevation because that is exactly what it is. The transition from reaction to resilience, from striving for approval to invulnerability. The final evolution is from emotions to empire. This is the moment of your rise. Not through loud words and proving something to someone, but through the essence of what they have fed on. Your emotions, your reactions, your energy. You are no longer their fuel. You are no longer their mirror. You are the wall, the silence, a presence that cannot be shaken. Because now you understand the game. You understand that in a world full of emotionally reactive people, the one who manages their inner world also controls the outer world. You realize that silence is not weakness, it is calculation. Detachment is not loneliness, it is an advantage. You no longer need to be heard. You do not need approval. You do not even need to be loved. You need one thing: power over yourself. Because once you master that, everything else becomes secondary. Let them call you cold. Let them say you have changed. Let them misunderstand your silence. Your absence is your refusal to play emotional games. That is perfectly fine. It is the price of evolution. It is the price of becoming a person who cannot be manipulated. Machiavelli did not seek to be loved. He sought to rule. He studied weakness in order to rise above it. And now you are doing the same. You are no longer the person who explains themselves to everyone. You are no longer the one who overthinks messages, replays conversations, or needs emotional closure. You have stepped out of that cycle. Now you are a strategist, cold, clear, and calculating. They do not need to understand. They need to feel your absence. They need to realize that you were an asset, not an option. So from this moment on, live by this code. If it does not strengthen your power, it does not deserve your presence. If it does not protect your peace, it does not deserve your energy. And if it does not respect your silence, it loses access to your world. Say this one last time. Emotions do not rule me. I rule everything. And if you are ready to become the coldest, calmest, and most invulnerable version of yourself, remember that this is not motivation. This is war, and it begins within.